Revelator John.
Hello, welcome to Revelator John. What are clouds and how are they formed? Clouds are formed by the process of condensation, where the temperature meets the dew point and the temperature of the air is cooled to a point where the water vapor within that air reaches 100% saturation and it must condense out into liquid form. So it moves from the water vapor form to the liquid form in the form of water droplets. Water droplets that are held in suspension in the air. Condensation occurs to form the droplet around a condensation nuclei, such as a dust particle, salt particle, a pollutant of some kind. Clouds are formed at varying altitudes, from low, middle, higher altitudes to very high altitudes, and the temperature of the cloud or the water droplets will change with a rise in or gain in altitude. We can have varying states of water droplets. They can be relatively warm, they can be relatively cold, they can even change state within the clouds that are formed. So we'll have liquid form, we can have ice form. At very high altitudes, clouds can be made of mainly ice crystals in the form of cirrus clouds. The extent of clouds can be altered by how warm the atmosphere is and how cold the atmosphere can get. So we have a lot of vertical movement, a lot of surface heating that creates a lot of evaporation, for example, lots of humidity in the air. As evaporation and increases, as hot air rises, then there'll be more moisture in the air, and then when the temperature reaches the dew point at a given altitude, whatever altitude that is, then we will have condensation occur, and the condensation will be greater because of the increased water vapor held within the air. Conversely, if we have a reduction in temperature for whatever reason, even at lower altitudes, then we may find ourselves having a temperature dew point converging at a lower temperature, and whatever water vapor is held within that atmosphere will reach 100% relative humidity. We'll have saturation and condensation will occur. So the cloud formation can occur for lots of different reasons, and we've touched upon it already. Where we have lots of hot air rising, carrying lots of moisture, we have lots of surface heating from the sun, for example. All that hot air rising, more commonly known as thermal activity, will carry all that moisture up into the atmosphere. Once it reaches a certain point, then the temperature will reach a dew point, and then we'll have condensation occurring. We can also have, for want of a better word, mechanical lifting of air. So we could have topographic lifting, or more commonly known as orographic lifting, where the wind is forced upslope, let's say off a mountainside, off a ridgeline, for example, and as the air is forced up, it rapidly cools, even above the ridgeline or the mountaintop, for example. Once it cools, the moisture held within that air pocket, that air parcel, if you like, it will cool, and it will cool down to the dew point, and then we have condensation occurring. So we could also have clouds occurring because of weather systems. So for example, with frontal movements, whether it's a cold front, whether it's a warm front, watch the other videos based upon that. But essentially what you will have warm air coming into contact with cold air, or cold air coming into contact with warm air, depending on the speed, depending on the temperature of the warm air or the cold air, and the moisture content within both would determine what kind of condensation you would have and at what levels you will have it. So you'll also have, when we have weather patterns, air masses that are moving towards each other, where we have streams of air, jet streams pushing at higher altitudes, different air masses, then we will have cloud formation forming there. And also we can have a cloud formation depending on certain geographic locations, may have certain obstacles in the air. For example, we may have mountain ranges, very high mountains, so on and so forth. If we have a succession of mountains, or a mountain range, then this may create a turbulence near the surface or at higher altitudes. So the knock-on effect, if you like, as air passes over these obstructions to the airflow, will create turbulence. So as we have this turbulence, then as we have this mixing of air, and as we have a rotation of air as opposed to a smooth, streamlined flow of air, then you may have temperature and dew point convergence, this creating clouds. Now you may note these clouds as being near the top of a mountain peak, such as standing lenticular clouds, so on and so forth. But watch my other videos for the varying types of clouds. Thank you.